G'day, it's Bruce from the Joinery Business Podcast, obviously, and I'm sitting down here today at the Biesse Materials Days event. I'm sitting down with Peter from Flexijet Australia.
Good morning, Bruce.
Did I get that right?
Yes, you did indeed.
Wonderful, that's a big accomplishment. So tell us a little bit about your business. Tell us a little bit about maybe the history of the business, where you're placed in Australia and who you serve and your product and all that fun stuff.
Look, Flexijet is a German-based company.
Right.
Okay. It was first formed in 2005 by a software engineer, Christian Roche, and he developed a software and hardware system to do accurate site measures using a laser-based system. So the Flexijet actually sits on a tripod, measures down to an accuracy of just under 1 millimetre and produces a 3D DXF or DWG file. So, and that's evolved, so we've got our second model now. I used to work for a joinery company, and at the time, this is going back, probably almost 10 years now.
Farther than what we want to talk about?
Yeah. And at the time, one of the biggest problems that, like most people have, is actually doing accurate site measures.
Yeah.
And, you know, we'd often come back from a site measure that might have taken us 2 days. Of course, we'd miss measurements.
Yep.
We'd scribble our measurements on a bit of paper, then the poor people using CAD would have to decipher those and then draw it up from scratch. So therein lies an inherent problem when you're doing. So site measuring really has become the last bastion or the last part of the production process where it hasn't been fully digitised. Still in the analogue stage for most people. And that's where Flexijet comes along. So we were looking for a system. There was nothing in Australia. We found Flexijet. We heard about it in Germany. So first thing I did, jumped on a plane, off I went. Cool. And spent a couple of days at head office there. And I think within about a couple of hours, I was convinced. So that's how my involvement started. So we bought the system. I started doing all the site measures for the company I used to work for. And it just evolved from that. The boss then retired and Flexijet approached me and said, hey Pete, we don't have representation in Australia. Would you like to?
What an opportunity.
Yeah, it was great.
Fantastic.
For once in my life, I was at the right place at the right time. Yeah, so it's evolved from that. So
you know, I'm a cabinet maker by trade. I've had my own cabinet business. So when I speak about these things, I am sort of talking about myself as well. Our industry, even though we have CAD software and we have CNCs and we all have this advanced technology, it's still a little bit tech challenged in many cases.
Absolutely.
So I would imagine that a system like yours, which has the ability to transform, like you said, one of the most difficult things, which is measurement, into solving that problem almost completely. What does a good integration look like? What is it, you know, because like I say, we've got a lot of businesses that would struggle with tech, you know, have a hard time using their phone. What does a good integration with your system look like?
Well, firstly, the user interface. Okay, so we're well aware that in the joinery industry or even the stone industry, where our system's used a lot as well, you know, there is a challenge as far as high-tech products. So we put a lot of effort into making the interface as user-friendly as we can. And of course, when a user jumps on board with our system, we obviously provide them with quite extensive training and obviously backup support, which is one thing that we pride ourselves in. I think you'll find that anywhere in the world where Flexijet is sold, most people that jump on board with our system, one of the things that they always say is they've got great backup support. Okay, and you do need that. You know, the old adage, you know, if you're happy with a product, you'll tell one person. If you're unhappy, you'll tell 10.
Tell everyone,
So we're well aware of that, so we pull out all stops to make sure that people are happy. The next thing, of course, is integration with design software.
Right.
Okay, so there's no point in us producing a file that no one can use. So Flexijet actually has a lot of different export functions, so it will export as a DXF, a DWG file, IFC, XML, lots and lots of, so we try to integrate with lots of software that's out there in the industry. So the main players being PythoCAD, of course AutoCAD, Microvellum, even SketchUp. The list goes on and on.
Like, I love technology, and I always hated check measuring because I always knew that I'd screw something up at some point. And then of course, when it was my business, I was paying for it, right? So I love the concept of something just being able to scan a room, you know, push a button and there it is. So tell us about how when you go to set it up, how does it actually work? What do you do?
Fundamentally, there's two approaches to actually doing a measure. So you mentioned the word scan. So Flexijet is not what you would think as your traditional scanner. So that when I hear the word scanner, most people think of point cloud systems. Okay, so they've got a device sitting on a tripod, they press a button, the thing spins around at high revolutions and takes millions and millions of points. And of course, the problem there is it measures everything. Scaffolds, ladders, the whole thing. So then you're stuck with this massive point cloud that might have gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes of information that you have to actually just remove.
Right.
And what you end up with just basically points. So you need to join the dots to give you a workable file. Flexijet is a little bit different, though it's motor driven, so you can, in inverted commas, scan, for example, a curved surface to give you a nice measurement of a curve. Most of the time, you would use it manually. So you would stand at a tripod, point and shoot, activate a measurement, and away you go. Yeah. So we have got an extensive suite of commands in our software that enable you to do a plethora of different types of measurements, whether it's just measuring a room quickly, scribing for a wall paneling, the list just goes on and on. The flip side of that too, of course, is which a lot of other products do not do, and Flexijet does extremely well, is that it's also a fantastic installation tool. Right. And what I mean by that is that just think of the scenario where you would go out on site, do your original site measure, take it back, you produce a workable, accurate 3D model of what you've measured. You bring it into your design software.
Which is all straight lines and square corners.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. Arcs, curves.
And plumb walls.
Down to an accuracy of 0.9 millimeters or less. And you do your final design work. And say your final design requires you to, mark out on site 100 fixing points on the ceiling, for example. You can bring that file back into our software, go back out on site with our device, with the Flexijet device, and actually ask it to show you those points on the ceiling without you pulling a tape measure out or a laser level or anything. And you're basically just chasing the laser around. Wow. And there's customers here in Sydney, around the country, that actually use it to that extent.
Cool. I was going to ask you what the point of difference was. So
it is quite a unique. It encompasses not only great site measuring, but also a fantastic tool if you want to take it back out on site to help you do that final installation.
Yep.
Yeah.
And of course, because it's driven by a laser, you know that it's deadly accurate, right?
Absolutely.
It's not going to fade. What do you see in the future? Like, let's say, I used to always say 10 years, but that's way too far ahead. Who knows? Let's say, what do you see 5 years from now in the technology that you're working? How's it going to be different?
Oh, look, the obvious thing that's on everybody's mind at the moment is AI.
Yep.
Okay. I haven't spoken to our head office in Germany about what they're planning with, but it would be, there is a learning curve with our system. I'm not denying that because it's a pretty high-tech system, though we do our very best to make sure that it's as user-friendly as it can be.
Yeah.
But
it's important, right? If you get the measurements wrong.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. So it's something that I haven't thought that deeply about, but it's in the back of my mind is how we can actually incorporate some AI into our measuring system, so where it can actually prompt you to actually use a particular command in an appropriate situation. That's still work in progress. Yeah,
it is interesting, right? Because with this explosion of AI, in the past we were talking about robots and CNC machines, and the threat then was people are going to be done out of a job. Well, never really happened. Those people just shifted to other places.
Yeah,
AI is now threatening a different level. It's threatening the white collar almost, because that's where all the AI actually is.
Yeah,
so we are struggling to. We obviously go into robotics, so if a robot can measure a room and use your system, well, now we've got AI driving it. It's an interesting future that we have.
Yeah, sometimes it gets a bit beyond me, to really try and...
Better to just think about today and
tomorrow. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a question for you.
Yeah.
If you could only see one more band or concert for the rest, you got one more for the rest of your life, and this band or this individual could be dead or alive.
Yeah.
Who would you go and see one more time, or for the first time?
Oh, that's pretty easy for me. Leonard Cohen.
Sorry?
Leonard Cohen.
Leonard Cohen, fellow countryman of mine.
Yeah, indeed. Yes.
He would have been good. Yeah.
I've been a fan since the mid '60s.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I asked.
That's going back a while. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. Yeah, I ask this question a lot, and I don't think we've ever had Leonard Cohen, but that's it.
I've seen him unfortunately only once in Melbourne. I was going to go to his last concert in Canada before he passed, but never quite got there. But never mind.
Yeah, I've always, one of the ones that I wanted to see was James Brown.
Okay. Yeah.
And the year that we'd said we're going to go and see James Brown, he died. So we missed out.
Yeah. I can't see any joinery business not benefiting from a digital approach to site measurement.
Yep.
Okay? You've just got to jump on board, otherwise you'll be left behind. A lot of people are sort of a little bit hesitant because of the initial outlay. But hey, look at the price of CNC machines. Look what it's doing to your business. Once you adapt that technology and become comfortable with it and embrace it, you really will never look back.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that from a Flexijet user. There are other companies out there that sell similar systems. I think our system is probably one of the best that's around. But jump on board. Don't get left behind. If you're going to compete in this modern environment, you really need to embrace this type of technology.
It is. It is sort of our soapbox message as a business.
Absolutely.
The gap between other industries with the advancing technology and AI and all that, and our industry is widening because our industry is hesitant to jump on board with. But I think once we get a business owner that understands the return on an investment, rather than looking at the cost of something only, you can buy 10 tape measures in a year, and that's a bad investment.
That's right.
Potentially, but if you buy your system once,
and they're hesitant because it's going to be disruptive to your workflow. There's no question of that. But hey, look at it long term.
For a short period of time.
Look at it long term.
You're solving problems.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I guess because one of the biggest things with businesses that we work with is defects, and of course often that goes back to the check measure.
Yeah.
The guy didn't measure in 4 places, and the wall at the top is 50 mil out, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So if we think about what problem are we trying to solve, and focus on if we were to solve that problem, how would that impact your business?
Yeah.
Then the cost of your system is really cheap.
That's right.
There's no question about it. Like, it solves a lot of problems.
Yeah. I mean, I can give you an example. I mean, just really quickly, you can actually get Flexijet to, let's say, draw a polyline, if people understand what I'm talking about. Okay. You can say to it, I want you to draw me a polyline parallel to that back. I'm doing wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling cabinetry. Okay. I've got to put a kicker in. I've got to put shadow lines or fillers in on the 2 walls and the ceiling. Okay. And I don't want to buzz anything when I go on site. Okay. You can get Flexijet and you can say, look, I want you to draw me a polyline along the floor, up the wall and across the ceiling, down the other wall, 600 mils away from the back wall. I want you to start in that position, go in this direction and finish before my starting point. Right. And this machine will actually go and measure in increments of 50, 100 mil, whatever takes your fancy. Yeah. It'll just go bang, 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 all the way up the wall, across the ceiling and down the other. So you can grab that polyline, pre-cut your kickers, put it on a seam machine, pre-cut your kickers, pre-cut your shadow lines, and the thing will just fit.
Just slips right in there like a glove.
So if you're on a commercial site, you've got MDF. You don't need a special cutting room to do any of your cutting. Yeah. Okay, so it just solves.
And now we're saving safety issues because we don't have dangerous dust flying around or on the floor.
Yeah, and it saves a plethora of problems. And I really try to actually drum that into people. Say, this is what you've got to use it for. Use it for what it's designed for.
Well, I'll tell you straight up, if I had another cabinet or joinery business, your system would be the first one I would buy.
Oh, thank you, Bruce.
After CNC machine, maybe, but it would certainly be in the in the top grouping of.
That's right.
I certainly don't want to be going on site with a tape measure anymore. No. I mean, you will be there with the tape measure, of course, but like you said, if you can't take advantage of technology to lighten the load, you're in the wrong industry.
That's right. No more MDF templates, nothing. You don't have to do any of that. In fact, you probably get to a point where you don't even need a tape measure, quite frankly.
Yeah. So tell us how people can contact you.
Well, we're based in Melbourne, okay. We've got our head office and a training facility in Melbourne. They can just jump on our website, and which is www.flexijetaustralia.com.
Nice and easy.
Okay. There's no AU, okay. Call our 1300 number, which is 1300 077 977. So they can get in touch that way.
Jump on the website, probably find that number.
Yeah, the website's the easiest way to do it. Okay.
And I imagine you're on social media, Facebook.
Yeah, we are. Yes.
Find you everywhere.
Yeah,
Well, this
Should be
good.
able to.
Thanks for sitting down with us.
Yeah, it's been a
Hopefully
pleasure.
the show will be good for you. Have a great show.
Great. Thanks for the invite too,
No
Bruce.
worries.
That's great.
Cheers.
Okay, cheers.